Now tell us a little bit about where you lived in Jacksonville.
But we lived in the George Washington Hotel in the penthouse, and it was a lovely place to live. The only disadvantage would be not having children around to play with.
Tell us about the George Washington Hotel as far as what it was like amongst all the other hotels in Jacksonville at the time.
Well, I only lived there, of course, until I was 10 years old, so I didn't appreciate all the wonders of the hotel until later, looking back after traveling to many other hotels and experiencing that. It was considered, I believe, the primary activity in Jacksonville for the residents to come and dance and listen to a big band, which was the Clyde Gardner Orchestra that played in the Rainbow Room every night, except I believe Sunday and Monday. Food was served there in the supper club, and fine entertainment was there all the time. It was a wonderful, wonderful place to be. And people dressed up and they used the hotel. The locals really enjoyed having that hotel there. During the week, it was a very, very busy place with business guests. And I remember many doctors at conventions there. Many medical conventions took place there, as well as other types of businesses. And it was all because the sales had been efficient in terms of promoting the services that were available. Of course, room service, which was my favorite. And the hotel was filled with shops of all kinds, clothing, hair salon, dry cleaners, everything you could imagine that you might need was in the hotel. All of our services for our family were taken care of in the hotel, for example.
So what do you remember about what it was like, the penthouse? Remember how big the penthouse was that y'all lived in on the top floor?
I can't tell you how many square feet, but it was rather luxurious. We did have a lovely living room, dining room area. We had a small kitchen facility. We had 2 bedrooms, possibly 3. My mother and father in one, myself, and I believe we had a guest room. And it was beautifully decorated and maintained. And we enjoyed it very much.
Well, I understand you also had a playground that Mr. Kloeppell provided for you. Could you tell us about that?
The roof, of course, was available right off the living room, French doors open to the roof. And when my mother was expecting me, I was her 8th pregnancy, and she had not been able to go full term. So when I was finally about to be born, Mr. Kloeppell did everything. He moved heaven and earth to make that a playground for me. So flower boxes were put out there, playthings, and I had a rabbit out there and this kind of thing. My book talks about, since when a person is in the hotel business, they don't make a lot of money necessarily, but they live like a king. So my mother wanted me to be dressed perfectly every night for dinner, and she had never sewn in her life, but miraculously learned to do so when I came into her life. And so we would go to the department stores and the fabric stores. She would buy fabric and patterns, and she made me beautiful clothes, so I would always look appropriate for dinner.
What else could you tell us about what it was like for you to live in Jacksonville back between 1942 and 52?
I would say that I lived in a microcosm of my mother's making. The hotel was my home, and we ventured out and we went to the beach and we had fun there. But I wasn't crazy about the beach because it was, the waves would knock you down and you'd lose your breath. Your dad would have to rush in and save you at the last moment. And it was very hot. I never liked the heat. I didn't realize that I had the conveniences of air conditioning. That was not available commonly. And I was living in an air-conditioned place. When we moved to Alabama, I realized it because we didn't have it there. And it was, I would say, Jacksonville itself was was fun, but I remember living in the hotel as my home. It was my entire life right there in the hotel. And when I had to venture out, I'd say I wasn't particularly comfortable.
Well, Carol, it's been a real pleasure to have you come and tell us all about this. And, we're really looking forward to putting the excerpts from your book on our website so that people can read about it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, George.